many of you, probably not many of you, I think everybody on here knows Jane Foreman. Jane's new title, since she's been promoted, I think 4 times, I think you were saying, in the last couple of years.
Just title changes.
Yeah, well, and responsibility too. It's like, well, let's throw some more on her. She's Senior Manager, Sales and Planning for Food Service. Shota Nakajima, which many of you have maybe seen on the Top Chef current season, which has been really fun to watch, by the way. But he also has a restaurant in Seattle and does a lot of appearances around the country, both events where he's cooking and working with other chefs. But I think the most important thing that I read in your bio was the 5 years you spent in Japan. And that's something we'll definitely get into and talk a little bit more about here. And then we have Claire Conaghan, and she is with Datassential, and she's here to talk about.
We're going to talk about comfort food and Asian food and the intersection of it.
Yeah, so that's going to be really cool. So let's start out with Jane. Jane, you're on to give us a little bit about the history of Kikkoman, which is quite impressive.
Our soy sauce actually has over 300 elements that make up its unique flavor and aroma and all the umami that comes from our soy sauce. And it works great with both savory and sweet dishes even. So we start out heating soybeans at a high temperature, and then those are mixed with wheat that has also been heated and crushed. After that, we take what is called the Kikkoman aspergillus, and that then creates a soy sauce koji that's formed after 3 days of fermenting. That is then mixed with a saltwater brine, and that creates basically a mash that we call moromi, and that ages in tanks for several months. It takes typically 6 to 9 months. And once that is finished, the moromi is folded into 3 cloths and folded back in multiple layers and basically put into a gravity press. And it's pressed for about 10 hours. And these press machines are multiple stories high. Raw soy sauce comes out of the pressing machine. It's then clarified for a couple of days. The clarified portion is extracted, and then it's heated to stop the formation of enzymes. Aside from soy sauce, we do have a full line of Asian sauces as well as panko coatings. And we're continuing to launch new products to meet the growing needs of consumers.
That's great, Jane. Yeah, thank you. And before we get into, and Shota's next, we're going to talk to him a little bit about, his career, which started young at 18, going to Japan and opening his first restaurant at 25.
There's no place Chef Shota Nakajima would rather be working than the line at his restaurant. But 2020 had other ideas.
2020 has been a roller coaster in so many ways. I closed one of my restaurants, Adana. I was running this as to-go and got in a car crash, some health incidents. They say there's no bad time to open a bar, but I opened a bar 5 days before the mandatory shutdown, so I think I went on that one.
Is that sweat or water? A little bit of both.
But Shota's bad luck took a turn for the better when he got a call asking if he'd like to be a contestant on TV's hottest cooking competition show, Top Chef.
I got a call from Bravo asking if I was interested, and I was like, yeah, what could go wrong this year? I want to be Top Chef because there's a big part of me that carries Japan on my back, and I want to be a stronger and better mentor and a chef. the first reaction was just scared, being like, I don't know if I can do this. And then I got really excited that I want to do it because it's that scary.
When filming began last fall, Shota found himself thrown into the fire against some of the best chefs in the country.
I've probably learned more in that short time frame than I did in the last 2 years about cooking. Coolest part is that you get to see so many different people showcase what they've learned, different cuisine, different mentality and approach towards cooking.
I hope you're ready, because your time starts now.
You'll have to tune in to see how Chef Shota Nakajima does on Top Chef. But no matter what, 2021 is already cooking up to be a better year.
After coming back from, competing on Top Chef, which is still airing right now, tuning in on Thursdays, I was looking at my menu. I was like, okay, I want to make sure I'm not doing food waste because I just don't know how busy it's going to be. I don't know what the operations are going to look like. And I was trying to think about a simple concept to do. One day I was eating dinner at my mom's house and she made chicken karaage, which is Japanese fried chicken. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to build a model off of this. And I did. I cut my inventory by 90%. We reopened as a to-go restaurant about a month and a half ago. And we have been pushing about 450 pounds of chicken thighs a day out of a tiny little 1,500 square foot space. Originally started with 5 or 6 full-time employees, and now we need 5 or 6 more because my number one rule is I want all hourlies to work 3 or 4 days a week.
You talked a little bit about that too with your employees and what you want to do with them. Talk a little, because I think you're really onto something here post-COVID and what you want to do with giving them more responsibility and making them a bigger part of the big picture.
Yeah, I think I think I just need to think a bit differently because the big norm of our restaurant industry is, we have turnovers, we have this, and it's a normal thing. But I think we should change what's normal about it. Like I give profit share to my managers, this, that, and I tell them to like, come banter with me, come negotiate that, make it yours, turn it into your own thing, and let's work on this project together. So in a sense, I get to work on more different projects than just operating one restaurant. And it gives me the freedom and it gives them the creativity and freedom. And I think it turns into a plus way of operating.
Are people on tiers within that, or is it structured or unstructured? I guess that's a quick way for me to ask.
It's structured. Yeah, it's structured. Right now I have a culinary director, and then it's still a small team. So I have a culinary director. I have a general manager at Taku, which is my bar, but she's more operation for everything on top of running a restaurant. And then I have one corporate sous or whatever you want to call it, because I do a lot of events. So just kind of helping with that side of the business. I'm doing a lot of video shoots right now. So just I've been expanding in different ways as a restaurant. I think after 2020, making sure I have a contingency plan of somehow making sure I have jobs for my staff and not having to have to let everyone go. So I guess with that mentality, I've been studying a lot about like the Netflix company culture, freedom, liability, and, trying to push and do something a little different, something that's more everyone's project compared to, hey, I'm the chef owner. This is my way. You say, yeah, chef, when I do things, and let's try to operate that way. Compared to that, it's like, hey, let's all take part of it. Come on to like finish the project you're at, keep that portion of what you take, and come help me with this project, and I'll give you another portion, and let's just keep expanding this business and go on it together. They want to do more too. So, sometimes they'll take like 4 days, but then they'll come in and do a 6 or 7 day because they just want to bust out work, which is great.
I love it. I love your attitude on that. And it's, I'm sure that's going to be successful. On that front, let's just talk a little bit about, where your success and your talent has come from.
I actually started working in restaurants originally when I was 15, 16. Worked at 2 full-time jobs, 80 hours. When I was 18, I wanted to learn more about my culture and just kind of live on my own a little bit. I was rebellious in that sense. So I moved to Japan, with one goal of working in a Michelin star restaurant. I ended up working for that Michelin star restaurant for 5 years. It taught me, I think, modesty, work ethic, and the grind to be successful. And a lot about cooking, obviously. After I came back, my big goal was, I would say, hey, I cook Japanese food, and everyone says, oh, so you can do sushi. My big goal was conveying Japanese culture through food in a new way that it just hasn't been introduced yet, because I still believe there's so many beautiful different Japanese cooking things that are out there, that are delicious, that I think people should just try, because why not try yummy things? I opened my first restaurant called Naka as a kaiseki restaurant, where we were doing 10, 15 courses. The price point was pretty high. Management was very hard for me. I was 25. I made so many mistakes, still make a lot of mistakes. And I changed concepts into doing a rotating menu of 3-course, 5-course, 7-course after a year. After a year and a half, which worked out a lot better. We started making money about year 3.5 from the whole entire procedure, and I had it for 5 years. I guess that's kind of, and then I opened the bar in March 2020.
So yeah, talk to us a little bit about some of your innovation, especially when it comes to the way you use sauces and the way you're conveying Japanese cuisine.
When you're doing soy sauce braises, I like to actually split the soy sauce in half when I put it in. So let's say it's a braised liquid of, I don't know, a quart, and I have 1.5 cups of soy sauce that I need to put in this mixture, or 2 cups, let's say 2 cups of soy sauce that I need to put in. When I'm braising it, I would put half the soy sauce in first, so it turns into a more mellow, round flavor. And then at the very end, when I have like 20, 30 minutes left, that's when I add the rest of the soy sauce, the last 1/2 cup. So it has 2 dynamic flavor profiles using the same product. So you have that rounded out flavor and an edge, because sometimes I do like an edge flavor, but I don't like it to be too edgy, if that makes sense. And then Kikkoman has a really cool product called double fermented that I like a lot. Number one, the cool part is the container, because soy sauce oxidation is a thing. I know izakayas and restaurants in Japan that actually have spray bottles with soy sauce in them. And when they're grilling meat, they'll hit the meat too, but more than anything, they'll hit the bottom, the charcoal of it, to get that charred flavor to go up, to add one more component of flavor. So different ways of using soy sauce. When I do sautés with a little bit of soy sauce, simple things, I do a quick saute. I bring like the vegetables to the front side of the pan and crank the heat so the edge side, the other side, gets like beaming hot. And when it's smoking, that's when I hit my soy sauce and I toss it really quick, so you get that charred flavor mixed inside. So even, you're sauteing your soy sauce, but it has that one more depth of flavor.
Again, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. Yeah, good luck on your project, and hopefully we'll see you sometime soon at one of our live events.
Yes, definitely.
I'll talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so Claire, you're up next.
In this case, we're going to talk about Asian food and comfort food, and specifically sort of the intersection of those two cuisines, which so much of how can I describe soy sauce? What you see is, as you go by Asian cuisine in our data, each one has a soup that is growing, and it's usually one of the fastest growing things. And I think that's a great place to play right now. It's something that's hard for consumers to do at home. Most of the top growing dishes at Chinese restaurants are in fact not Chinese in origin. It's bringing things from other Asian countries into the Chinese restaurant space. And I did want to bring attention to everyone's favorite, the star that tastes like nothing but can taste like everything. Cauliflower is the last one on the list. And that's, of course, being used in, it's a nice platform for either a main dish. You could do kung pao cauliflower, or you can use it, of course, in a cauliflower wing with an Asian type sauce as the kind of what it's been mixed in. So that's a classic example. And then in the reports also, we bring in stuff from our flavor database, which is where we take all these terms and we test them with consumers to see what they think about it. And it sometimes just validates what we kind of know, which is when we look at the most loved cuisines in America, it's not, do you kind of like it? You have to select love on this scale. Chinese food is more loved than unspecified Asian food. And then we have our Asian dishes. This is where we take our new items and limited time offers and test them with consumers. And it does confirm what we were talking about. The kind of classic one here is the Korean style gochujang fries. It's just French fries topped with, a spicy sweet mayo sauce. But because you mix that unknown flavor with mayo, it's approachable. And 64 is actually a very strong score.
It is very interesting to see the different trends and the crossover and the mashup. I think that's what we work a lot on with our customers is the mashup versus straight Asian cuisine. So it's good to see that it's on trend.